Liberty Ammunition, Civil Defense. I got some really fast ammo here to test in my 5-inch M&P pistols here. So 357 SIG versus 9mm+P. I happened to get the ultralight 9mm+P by accident. However, the rated velocity is exactly the same. The only difference is that the cases are ultralight, as where the original has, you know, basic brass cases that look like they're nickel plated. So our 9mm+P is a 50 grain rated at 2,040 feet per second. Our 357 SIG is also a 50 grain, but this is rated at 2,300 feet per second. So just by ratings alone, there's 260 feet per second more with the 357 SIG. So it'll be interesting to see what we get. So I got our M&P 2.0 5-inch barrel with our 357 SIG. It's a 40, but it's converted over to 357 SIG with a KKM barrel. Our 9mm M&P 9 2.0, same 5-inch barrel, basically the same pistol. So we're going to see what we get with that really fast ammunition. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time. Then I'm going to hit my 10% clear ballistic pack here. I'm just going to go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential is of these cartridges. And then after that, I'm going to do my real world simulation. 4 layers of denim up on the front of this first 3-inch piece here that represents our pectoral muscle. After that, I'm going to have a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard that represents ribs or sternum. That'll be more of our real world simulation. Then we'll hit the steel, see what kind of practical accuracy I can get on the steel. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 9mm is rated at 2,040 feet per second. I know some of the information shows it at 2,000 feet per second, but my box says 2,040 feet per second. So 5-inch barrel here. Let's see what we get. 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph with our 9mm+P here. Did not get a read on that. 2,302. So above rated velocity. 2,338. 2,297. 2,295. 2,316. And I don't think that's an error at all. Those had a pretty good recoil for a 50 grain. Plus, I've noticed that these particular M&P pistols do shoot a lot of ammo quite a bit faster than other pistols. I think it's just with the rifling and all of that. So 357 SIG rated at 2,300 feet per second. Let's see what we get with this. I'm not sure if that was a read. 2,316. Maybe it wasn't a read. 2,456. 2,396. 2,459. 2,430. 2,462. So not as big a difference from the rating versus reality as what we saw in reality. However, still a good amount more with this by some of those shots, almost 200 feet per second more. So let's hit our ballistics gel block with these. I don't know what to expect. I think we'll have a lot of energy dump, and we'll just see what we get with these when we hit our ballistic gel block. All right, 9mm+P. I hope this doesn't like lift my entire block, because this is going to be a lot of energy dump. Plain clear ballistics, 9mm+P. Let me reset that and hit that with the 357 SIG. All right, same thing, 357 SIG. Let's see what this does. Whoa, there was a difference there, a big difference of what I'm seeing. Let's go take a look. And what I'm seeing, this is my perspective from the front of this block. Here's where our 9mm impacted. Here's where our 357 SIG impacted. That is, you know, 5 times as much boom expansion with that. But, you know, we caught all those little fragments in there, and very few of them made it in. It looks like more of them made it in with the 9mm, and basically none made it into this block here with our 357 SIG. So with our 9mm, we got a few of them coming in here at about 3 3/4 inches. Our main part of our bullet here is about 10.5 inches. Our 357 SIG Maybe one made it in here, one little fragment made it in about 3¼ inches, but most of them were stopped here. And then our core went to about 11¾ inches. So quite a bit different between the two of those. So let's put on our denim and put our MDF in there and see how it compares that way. All right, 9mm+P through denim and MDF. Let's see what this does. Whoa. It split that in half. I did bring another piece of MDF out here just in case something like that happened. Didn't think it would. Let's set back up, do our 357 SIG now. All right, denim and MDF 357 SIG. See what we get. Same thing. Let's go take a look. All right, so our differences here are actually a little bit less here when we look at these. Our 357 SIG and our 9mm at bottom, 357 on top. Both of these stopped at the MDF with the little fragments, so none of them made it through. So our MDF piece here with our 9mm, looks like we impacted here. There's a lot of little pieces here that would not go through ribs or sternum, but it split this right in half, caused a lot of damage there. And we penetrated our core here to well, a little more than before, but almost exactly the same, I think, about 10½ inches. A 357 SIG though was more affected than the 9mm by MDF, it seems. With this, we hit, and it's kind of weird because it's like there's less impacts on the MDF, and that kind of mirrors what we were seeing in plain gel though, because none of the 357 SIGs made it into the block, but the 9mm did. So there's such an explosive amount there, it's dumping the fragment energy sooner, so that's why we have less marks here on the MDF. And that only penetrated to about 10 inches even. So it's hard to say which one did better here, because they both a little bit subpar in penetration, but a massive amount of energy dump. What I can say is by looking at this 357 SIG here, that would be so explosive on somebody's pectoral muscle that I think they would go down, to be honest, even if that wasn't a vital hit. So let's shoot our steel, see what kind of practical accuracy we can get with these. So the only way I think I can really show here with some of the bullets up close, I will show here. Here's our 9mm. They're just cores left over, and here's our 357 SIGs. You know, they all look the same. You're not going to learn a whole lot by looking at that. I believe it's the exact same projectile. I'm not 100% sure. And they might have made the 357 SIG different, even though it's the same weight. But, you know, all you got left there is watch batteries. But we can look here at our gel. This is a cross section here that I cut out from our 9mm. And you can see that's kind of like our permanent cavity. There's a lot of different cut marks in there, a lot of different angles and whatnot. When we look at our 357 SIG though, it's a lot deeper. There's a lot more angles. There's a lot more just weird angled cutting in here versus our 9mm. So obviously our 357 did a lot more damage, and it spreads out a lot further. That's what I was trying to say before. You know, our spread out pattern here with this is just kind of narrow. With this, once it gets halfway through this, it just boom, it goes out a good 2 inches. So big difference there. Here's some with our denim with our 357. Well, you can actually see here, here's our 357 SIG right here through denim, and it caused a lot of damage. We can kind of pull this open. You know, that's our 357 SIG through our denim. Our 9mm through our denim here is basically this little piece here and part of this side here, I think. No, it's this right here is our 9mm, and that's really all I see for 9mm. It's just that right there. It looks like, you know, even through that denim and MDF, that 357 SIG did a lot more damage. So That's what you get with all that close up. All right, being that these M&P pistols are very accurate and this ammo is very fast, I figure I should just shoot at some distances rather than close up and just kind of see how they shoot for me. So 25 yards from the target, 9mm+P. Aim center mass and see where these hit real slow. Go for a headshot. And I thought that was going to happen. It looked like my impact center were impacting just a little bit high. I did aim a little bit lower on that headshot area, but it still went over it. So 357 SIG. Aim center mass, see where these hit. These are the opposite. They're hitting just a little bit low. So let me aim for a headshot. That one went a little bit low and to the left a little bit. So let me back it up. I think I'm just going to do 75 yards. They shoot so fast, I don't think the distance is really going to affect them. See what I get for accuracy. See if I can get any hits. All right, 75 yards from the target. You know, today the reason why I'm back so far is because I honestly don't know how to review this ammo. You know, it doesn't really fit into typical defense ammo. So I'm just kind of having fun with it. So 75 yards from the target. I'm going to see where these hit by aiming center mass. They were shooting just a little bit high at 25, but let's see what we get here at 75 yards. I'm going to aim center mass, see what we get. 9mm. Looks like it went a little bit to the left for me. A little bit high. So let me aim kind of low and right and see if I can make any impacts. All right, can't really tell where they're hitting. Today I'm judging by where I'm not hitting. I'm not hitting the leaves, so I'm assuming I'm hitting, but I really can't hear the steel impact. So 357 SIG, we're getting up there close to 2,500 feet a second. Let me just aim center mass, see if these hit. Yeah, I think they hit, but I think they're fragmenting harder against that steel. So I saw leaves move a little bit. All right, you know, I saw some impacts and leaves here and there. I wasn't sure if they were fragments or if I was completely missing, because this ammo, both the 9mm and this 357, are so loud that it completely covers any sound I'm hearing downrange. So I'm just judging if I think I'm hitting by not seeing leaves move down there. So this ammo was reliable, but these pistols are pretty reliable in general, so that doesn't really surprise me. But what we saw here was actually some differences. You know, this stuff is pretty gimmicky. I'm not really sure what the point of it is for. But saying that, I really do not want to imagine getting hit with that 357 SIG in a pectoral muscle. To have basically it'd probably remove everything. Like if you had to have surgery, that would be gone, because it would, you know, it's an area this big that it was just fragmenting all out and ripping everything apart. So I think in terms of stopping power, I think pain-wise it probably would do well. It would do a lot of damage. You know, if somebody was hit with that, you know, let's just say it went through their arm, the back side of their arm, there would be like probably where it went through fabric, there'd probably be like 10 holes and there'd be all kinds of mess going on. Somebody'd be like, help me. Like that's some pretty nasty stuff. But as far as actually stopping a determined attacker, I'm not really sure. What we do have to look at, though, is look at some of the stopping power numbers when we look at other cartridges of similar energy and similar penetration. And we do see with stuff like 110 grain or even 125 grain 357 Magnum, when it's moving fast enough, you know, this is some of the ammo that does 90 percentile in stopping power in real world numbers. When it's then after the fact gel tested, a lot of times it only penetrates to roughly 10 inches in gel, 10 to 11 to 13, something like that. So when we look at those numbers, I could pretty confidently say I think this stuff would be similar, because when you look at like the old school semi-jacketed hollow points, some of the 110 grains that were full power were only penetrating to 10 inches. But when that happens, the lead on a semi-jacketed hollow point strips off and it leaves fragments like that. And yet we still have something like 90 or 92% one-shot stop, something like that with the 110 grain. And kind of what I'm seeing here is kind of the similar thing, but engineered a little bit better to do kind of that same thing. So my rundown is, do I think it would stop a threat with a straight-on shot? And the answer would be absolutely yes. The issue is, you know, is it going to meet FBI statistics? Because going through an arm, going through the bone, going into the body, and still getting deep enough in the thoracic cavity, that's the reason why 12 inches is the bare minimum when we look at the FBI type testing. So going through here, it's unlikely that it would do anything to ultimately stop or provide a vital hit to stop somebody, but from this way it would. So it has its limitations, but it also has some benefits that you don't necessarily see with regular jacketed hollow point ammo. But other than that, just kind of comparing it to 357 mag and some of these FBI statistics, everything else is really guesswork on my part. I really can't tell you whether this is great ammo or bad ammo. I'm just, those are the closest comparisons I can come up with to try to judge this ammo. And so I guess you be the judge and you try to figure out more information on your own if you want to carry this stuff. But I will say, we're going to end this video saying it did have speed. It was fast. It was very fast ammo. I don't think I've ever shot an ammo that reached close to 2,500 feet per second in any of my handguns. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.